On a beautiful Sunday morning, August 8, 1999, as thousands watched, Moorhead State University's landmark Neumaier Hall stood tall in the sun for one final moment. Then, to the staccato beat of scores of small explosions, all 15 stories bowed and left the horizon forever. It was a dramatic, though premature, finish for a building filled with memories. The beginning of the end started on a very cold day in January.
So my purpose today is to inform you that the university will close Neumaier Hall by the end of this academic year. My foremost consideration is your safety and your peace of mind. And consequently, over the next couple weeks, the university will relocate residents from Neumaier Hall to other residence halls on campus and possibly to rooms in the community the university will rent.
President Roland Barton announced the orderly relocation of the 305 residents of Neumaier Hall, a decision prompted by a new engineering analysis which raised serious questions about the structural integrity of the high-rise building. Originally designated G2A dormitory, it opened for students in August 1970.
I was one of the first people living in Neumaier. When I moved into the 14th floor, they didn't even have the carpet laid yet.
It was dedicated in honor of John J. Neumaier, who served as Moorhead State's 7th president from 1958 until 1968.
I take no credit in the planning of that particular building, and was in fact surprised. I didn't know they were going to name any building after me. It was, as you know, 15 stories, the highest at the time in Moorhead and certainly on the campus, and I felt very flattered when in 1970 I found out that the building was named after me by a recommendation of the faculty, the community, and then the State College board.
25 massive reinforced concrete caissons supported Neumaier Hall's 163 feet of brick and glass. Each caisson extended 100 feet below the surface. Shortly after it opened, engineers were studying why the northwest corner had settled a few inches. The settling caused cracks and made some windows and doors difficult to use. Despite the jokes about MSU's leaning tower, it was a popular residence hall for 10,000 students who at one time or another called it home.
I thought it was kind of cool, actually, just kind of an adventure your freshman year, kind of something to go through that you can tell everybody about down the road. And
the announcement that the campus landmark would have to be demolished was very big news. The media crowded into the top floor lounge for a briefing by President Barton and the engineering consultants.
We will close this building this summer, believe me, and the only issue is whether the students, you know, knowing that the building's going to close. We don't think it's going to fall down. I wouldn't be here if I thought it would fall down. I wouldn't have invited all of you to be here either. I don't have any doubt whatsoever that this building will be here and that we will have to knock it down. But I am not, as president of this university, going to ask our students to stay here. I don't want their parents worried.
Within 3 weeks, all of Neumaier Hall's residents were moved into new quarters on and off campus.
I think it's too complicated to be doing it now. I don't see why they're not waiting until the end. I mean, another 3-4 months. The building's been standing for 20, 30 years, you know. I don't think in 3 months it's going to twist and fall down.
I can't believe I accumulated as much as I did in just a semester.
I guess we thought when we moved her in the fall we would be coming back in the spring, and that would be it.
The building was vacant, and preparations started for the next stage, its removal.
I don't want to I'm gonna crash it down.
Six months later, on August 8, 1999, as thousands stood in the streets surrounding the campus and tens of thousands more watched live coverage on 3 local television stations and the internet, the hall came tumbling down. It was called an implosion, but strictly speaking, the process was an explosive demolition. Controlled Demolition Incorporated of Phoenix, Maryland, was hired to remove Neumaier Hall.
Every project has its specific challenges. And the biggest challenge of this is the building's damaged. That's why it's coming down. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably a 9.
Controlled Demolition, or CDI, is world-renowned for its record of removing major structures. Over more than 50 years, CDI has successfully imploded more than 7,000 buildings, bridges, smokestacks, and other tall and hemmed-in structures. CDI Vice President Doug Loiseau made himself available to the media and Moorhead State's neighbors to keep everybody informed about the process.
We have about 80 pounds of explosives throughout the building. If you watch, we have explosives at the base, 2nd floor, 5th floor, 8th floor, and 12th floor. What you're going to see is you're going to see the columns on the corners on this end detonated first. Then you're going to see the entire sequence progress to the northern side. The building's going to incline its way to the south slightly and then come straight down.
The implosion plans caught the imagination of the public. Broadcast and print reporters filed story after story about the process and its progress.
Well, the clock is ticking. Just 2 days until Moorhead State's Neumaier Hall comes tumbling down, and there's a lot to do before the big bang. Amy Polacco's live in Moorhead. What's going on over there today, Amy?
Well, Charlie, we're seeing a little nostalgia, a lot more preparations, and most of all, just a ton of excitement.
And on the final day, reporters and photographers joined the throngs of people who waited in anticipation as the last moments ticked away for the tallest building on the Moorhead State University campus.
I'm Denise Krogman, reporting to you live from the MSU campus. We are standing in front of Neumaier Hall now, which is about to be imploded in a few minutes.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kirsten Keeley. We are broadcasting live from Moorhead State University for quite an event this morning. Neumaier Hall is scheduled to come down from the inside out in a very neat pile of rubble.
3, 2, 1, fire!
You know, I felt fine. It was a decision that had to be made until it started to crumble, and I felt just a real pang of sadness. I suppose something to do with age and the idea of the transitoriness of life.
It was a bittersweet day. Sweet for the pleasant weather and the excited anticipation. Bitter for the loss of a landmark and the name it bore.
Because it's the end of an era for the students of Moorhead State University and all the staff that have worked there, and so I think there are a lot of memories that are brought forth at a time like this. But I hope that they're joyful memories, and certainly we look forward now to getting this area cleared, and we look for new beginnings and start to imagine and dream for the kind of housing we'll have here in the future.
There is enough egotism in ex-college presidents that I was sorry to see the name go, but let's face it, it meant far more to the students who in the middle of the year had to find new places in which they could reside.
I lived in Neumaier for about a year. I was up on the 9th floor, and so this has a special significance, I guess, for me and a whole lot of other people who are here watching.
The crowd along 9th Avenue South was the audience for a brief ceremony before the demolition.
I regret the demise of the foremost landmark in Moorhead and the source of millions of memories for MSU.
At 7 a.m., the crowd provided the final countdown as President Barton and his guests pushed the ceremonial demolition plunger. From the first blast to the last, it took 7.5 seconds for the hall to fall into a pile of rubble and dust. This view from 6 miles to the west shows how the drama played from a distance. And this view from a distance of a couple of 100 feet shows how the explosives were timed to tilt the building away from adjacent Holmquist Hall. MSU technology professor Mike Ruth captured the closest view with a home video camera outside Murray Common. Neumaier Hall's final bow finished with a cloud of dust. Fortunately, there was very little wind. The thick dust cloud was limited to the campus, which was appreciated by the residents of our surrounding neighborhoods. It was over. The rubble pile that remained was removed and recycled over the next several weeks. The site was excavated 12 feet below the surface, then refilled and graded to become a new green space for the residence halls.
It was a little suspicious. Everybody was so excited about the implosion that I was afraid they were thinking of me next, so I didn't want to. No, but at any rate,
Neumaier Hall is gone, but the memories survive.
I will never forget my tenure at Moorhead State University.